For more than half a century, he wasn't just a bluesman, he was the king of the blues. His guitar, Lucille, spoke a language of pure joy and profound pain. But for decades, B.B. King was fighting a silent war. It was a disease that would change his body, his music, and the very way he stood before the world. This is the untold story of how the king of the blues faced his greatest challenge, type 2 diabetes. Before the diagnosis, before the chair, before the quiet battle became a public struggle, there was only the music. Born Riley B. King on a Mississippi cotton plantation in 1925, his journey from poverty to global stardom is the stuff of legend. He picked nearly 500 pounds of cotton a day as a teenager, earning just 35 cents for every 100 pounds. But in his hands, a simple $15 guitar became a passport to another world. He moved to Memphis, and the Beale Street Blues Boy was born, soon shortened to BB. And his sound, it was revolutionary. Because he couldn't sing and play complex chords at the same time, he developed a unique call-and-response style, letting his guitar, Lucille, sing the notes his voice could not. His finger vibrato, a rapid shaking of the strings, gave his music a human, trembling quality that became his signature. It was a sound that would influence generations of guitarists, from Eric Clapton to Jimi Hendrix. By the 1970s, B.B. King was a global phenomenon. He was a 15-time Grammy winner, a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and an inductee into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His schedule was relentless. For most of his career, he performed over 300 nights a year, a grueling pace for any artist, let alone one who poured every ounce of his soul into every single performance. He was a force of nature, a titan of music who seemed invincible. But as he entered his 60s, an age when many artists might think about slowing down, B.B. King was about to face a challenge that had been quietly growing inside him for years. A challenge that would demand more from him than any tour or any recording session ever had. Around 1990, in his mid-60s, B.B. King was formally diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He recalled in an interview, "I thought I wouldn't live very long. I didn't know much about diabetes." For King and for many, the diagnosis was shrouded in fear. Looking back, the signs had been there for a while. While early photos show a slim young man, by the 70s and 80s, he was significantly overweight, a key risk factor. Some medical experts speculate that he may have been living with it, undiagnosed for decades. The disease likely had roots in his family history. King came to believe both of his parents suffered from undiagnosed diabetes. His father had issues with gout and high blood glucose, and his mother went blind before she died young. Both are potential complications. This family connection would later fuel his determination to speak out. So, what exactly was this silent intruder? Type 2 diabetes is a chronic condition where the body doesn't use insulin properly. Insulin is the hormone that lets sugar into our cells for energy. When that process fails, sugar builds up in the blood. Over time, high blood sugar can damage nerves, blood vessels, and organs, leading to severe complications like heart disease, kidney failure, and strokes. For B.B. King, the man who lived on the road, whose life was a whirlwind of irregular hours and late-night shows, this diagnosis was a fundamental threat to his entire way of life. The disease that had stalked his family and likely his own body for years finally had a name. It was a turning point, not just for his health, but for his life's third act. The King of the Blues now had a new, relentless battle to fight, far from the stage lights. Living with diabetes meant a complete overhaul of B.B. King's life. The freewheeling lifestyle of a touring musician had to give way to a disciplined routine. He became a student of his own body, learning to manage a condition that demanded constant attention. He started monitoring his blood sugar regularly and made significant changes to his diet, cutting out sugar and reportedly adopting a vegetarian lifestyle. But the disease was insidious. It began to subtly, then obviously, change his legendary stage presence. The man who once commanded the stage with his energy found his stamina fading. The exhaustion was profound. In his later years, a new piece of equipment became as essential as Lucille, a simple stool. Performing seated became his new reality, a visible concession to the disease waging war on his body. It was a stark contrast to the powerhouse of decades past, and for his audiences, it was the first clear sign that the king was mortal. The physical toll became more apparent over time. In 2013, he admitted to Rolling Stone, "I'm slower. As you get older, your fingers sometimes swell." For a person with diabetes, swollen fingers can be a sign of fluid retention, pointing to more serious problems like kidney or heart issues. The very tools of his trade, the fingers that created the most iconic guitar sound in blues history, were being affected. There were moments when the struggle became painfully public. In April 2014, during a performance in St. Louis, his show became erratic. He rambled, repeated a single song for 15 minutes, and seemed lost. The performance led to heckling and walkouts. His team later apologized, explaining that a medication error had caused dangerously high blood sugar, which, combined with exhaustion, resulted in the uncharacteristic show. It was a vulnerable, human moment. The master was faltering, not from a lack of passion, but from the physiological chaos created by his chronic illness. The disease was no longer a silent partner. It was stepping into the spotlight. The new reality was that every single show was a triumph of will over physical limitation. Now, a condition like this would have sent most people into retirement. But B.B. King made a different choice. He would not be silenced. He wouldn't let diabetes take Lucille away from him. He famously said, "The way I feel today, as long as my health is good and I can handle myself well and people still come to my concerts, I'll keep playing until I feel like I can't." And play, he did. But his fight was no longer just personal. B.B. King decided to use his enormous platform to turn his struggle into a source of education for others. He went from being a private patient to a public advocate, becoming a high-profile spokesperson for diabetes awareness, most notably for the One Touch brand of blood glucose meters. He starred in commercials, bringing celebrity and grace to a topic many found difficult to discuss. He even teamed up with Crystal Bowersox, a young singer and fellow diabetic. In the ads, he spoke with raw honesty about his journey, saying, "If I got to be punching my fingers, and this is all I got. These 10 here. This is it," powerfully connecting his health management to the very source of his art. He wanted to show the world that a diabetes diagnosis wasn't a death sentence for a vibrant life. His advocacy was deeply personal. Remembering his parents, who he believed died from untreated complications, he felt a responsibility to educate the African American community, where type 2 diabetes is especially prevalent. He joined initiatives like FACE, Fearless African Americans Connected and Empowered, to help destigmatize the condition. On stage, he was a portrait of resilience. He adapted. He sat, but he still played. His solos might have been a bit slower, his energy more contained, but the soul was always there. Every note that rang out from Lucille was a testament to his refusal to surrender. He once stated proudly, "I've missed 18 days in 65 years. Sometimes guys will just take off. I've never done that. If I'm booked to play, I go and play." This chapter of his life was defined by this dual purpose: to continue sharing his gift with the world while using his struggle to empower millions. He wasn't just the king of the blues anymore. He was a king of resilience. For years, B.B. King held the line against his illness, a testament to his incredible willpower. But a chronic disease is a relentless tide. By 2014, the cumulative toll of diabetes and a life on the road began to overwhelm him. The beginning of the end came on October 3, 2014, at the House of Blues in Chicago. King fell ill on stage. He was diagnosed with severe dehydration and exhaustion, direct complications of his diabetes. He was forced to cancel the remaining 8 shows of his tour, a decision that pained the man who prided himself on never missing a gig. He released a statement saying, "I'm back at home now. I do appreciate everyone's calls and concern. I want to tell you, I'm doing all right. But the following months saw a rapid decline. In April 2015, he was hospitalized again for dehydration. He was released, posting to his fans, "I'm feeling much better." But it was a temporary reprieve. On May 1st, 2015, his website posted the update his fans dreaded. B.B. King was in hospice care at his home in Las Vegas. On May 14th, 2015, Riley B. King died at the age of 89. After his death, the coroner's office released its official findings. The primary cause of death was listed as Alzheimer's disease. However, the report also detailed a host of other significant contributing factors, many stemming from his long battle with type 2 diabetes, coronary artery disease, heart failure, high blood pressure, and cerebrovascular disease. The disease he had fought so valiantly for over 2 decades had finally taken its toll. He had once told a reporter he hoped to pass either on stage or in his sleep. He was granted his second wish, dying peacefully at home. B.B. King's story is a powerful reminder of the silent battles many people fight every day. His life shows us that even legends are human, and that resilience in the face of chronic illness is a profound form of strength. If his story has moved you, please consider sharing this video to help raise awareness about the impact of diabetes. And in the comments below, tell us your favorite B.B. King song and how the King of the Blues touched your life. It might be easy to look at B.B. King's story and see only the tragedy of his health decline. But that would be missing the point. The real story isn't just about how he died. It's about how he lived. For over 2 decades, he lived with a debilitating disease, yet he refused to be defined by it. He outlived the average life expectancy for a man of his generation by well over a decade, all while maintaining a career that would exhaust someone in perfect health. He gave the world more than 50 albums and countless legendary performances. He turned his personal struggle into a public service, using his fame to educate and inspire. The B.B. King Museum even continues his legacy with diabetes education programs. His life is a testament to the idea that you can face down your demons, even the ones inside your own body, and still create something beautiful. He never stopped being the king. He simply reigned from a different kind of throne. He carried his pain, and from it he gave us the blues. And for that, the thrill will never be gone.